What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chat with Chief, and today we're going to talk about getting into CNC milling and what you need to know before you actually start, before just trying it the first time, because it's not something you can learn within a day, a week, or a month. And I say this because there are so many things that can happen from point A, point B, or point A to point Z. So I am in the MWMSS Type 2 right now. Do mind the mess. It is a field environment due to a exercise that I'm currently in, sharing with so many different people on 3 different shifts. So YouTube wouldn't allow me to do a live, which I would have did. So I'm just making a video now. Due to the channel being so new, if I did it on my other channel, I can go live right away. But without further ado, I'm going to get into what you need to start with. So the first things first I'm going to go with is being able to CAD, computer aided design. And if you do not know how to draw, take the time to learn. Get yourself SolidWorks if you can. Any kind of CAD software. There's free. I believe Onshape is online. You can use that. That's free. And what I mean by drawing is, if you cannot draw something like this, then you cannot CAM this. And CAM is computer aided manufacturing, which you're using a software to tell the machine what to do with certain tools. And here it is. You saw the part over there on SolidWorks, and I use Fusion to CAM. And as you can see, it's cutting holes and eventually cut out the part for me, which is right there. You want to watch it simulate. Move all this over. Now, with computer aided manufacturing, there are so many things that come into play. When you start, what stock you're using or cutting out. Here, just to show y'all the tool you're using, geometry, where you're cutting, the heights tab. This is a big one. This matters. Not going to dive deep into this, but this matters. Your passes tab. This is very important as well. And your linking tabs. If you're just selecting whatever, you will not be able to cut your part out correctly at all. It could be catastrophic. So make sure you pay attention to those things. Next is, after you have set up, well, before that, you want to post-process. This is post-processing. Show you. All right, post-processing. This is where you're telling your CAD software, CAM, excuse me. I'm using Fusion, as I stated earlier. You're telling it to tell the machine, Haas, okay, this is where I need to export my post-process into my Haas CNC Mill or lathe if you're using one. For Haas, it uses 01001. You can put a comment on what it is, and when you export it, it's going to go into a file like this. This is where all your G code will go. And when you take this, you can load it into your Haas machine. Next is setup. Right, whether you're setting up your table with a vise or you're setting up your table with clamps onto the table with a base plate. I'll show you the picture here. Okay, that's a base plate with clamps. The reason why you want to use a base plate is because you do not want to slam the spindle into the table. If you don't have a base plate, you will cut into the table depending on how deep your part is, the cut of your part is. So we talked about learning how to design. We talked about camming. That's step 2. We talked about step 3. That's setup, work holding. All right. Once you have your setup and work holding, step 4 is getting your offsets. Right? Offsets meaning telling the machine where to go. Your work coordinate system. I'd like to put mine on the top left and right here. So X here and Y here. And as you can see, I have a work stop here. Do mind the slight rust. That's going to be wiped off later. But yeah, that is step 4 is the work holding and the tool offset. Now, tool offset is where you're telling your tools where the part is, or how high it is from the part. Now, you use the paper method where you put a paper on top and you literally go right on top of the paper, and then that's how you get your tool height. Now, you can use something else too instead of a paper, like maybe a small block. Depending on what's the size of that block, you need to subtract that due to you putting that to not damage your part. That's like a safety thing. And then offsets, you just go in offsets. When you get your G54, X and Y, Z stays 0. And when you get your X, you're just going to put part 0 set. And then same with the Y. And then for your tool 1 or tool 2, whatever you told the program which your tool is in tool data, you want to put it. So if you have a bunch of tools like over here, you're going to want to do that in your program. If you select tool 1 but it was supposed to be tool 4, you will slam that tool into your part, or worse, the tool might be too long and it might break off, etc. All right, so that's step 4. And the last step is to check. There you go. The same program that I just showed you on there is here. How you find that is you go to list program. I named it 01001 mount 2306. That was at 11 o'clock yesterday. I'm on shift currently, and then what I did was I clicked select program and this popped up. If you're ever lost, you're in another screen, all you do is press memory. Picking up your stock, selecting the stock, work holding to offset, and then rechecking everything, you'll be good to go. Have people done this from maybe learning from a week? Maybe, but I don't think so. Reason why I say that, there's a lot that goes into CNC machining. There's a lot of calculations. There's a lot of speeds and feeds that you need to calculate. There's a lot of different types of tools for materials. This is aluminum, so I'm using a high-speed steel cutter. And make sure you double check everything before you start. Tighten up all your pieces Make sure your vise is zeroed, and safe start protocol is 25%, 50% feed, 25% rapids. All right, well, I hope this paints a clear picture on what to do when it comes to machining. This is speaking from a U.S. Army soldier, speaking from a personal experience. You know, everyone's experience is different, but this is what we do in the military as far as what I was taught and how to go about machining. There's much more than just, okay, show me how to do it, let me do it. You cannot learn in a day. You cannot learn in a week. It'll take maybe a good month to dive into this. The biggest thing is learning how to design first, and then from there you can gauge how you tell the machine what to do in the cam portion, and everything else will fall into place. Work holding, setup. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all next time. And also, if you have any questions or any input, go ahead and put it in the comment section below, and I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. Maybe there's something that you can do better. Maybe there's something that I can improve better, but this is how I do it to successfully make parts. All these things that were cut out were from here. So before you start, go ahead and click Settings Graph or Graphics to see your program run first. Click Cycle Start and you can see it simulate on your Haas CNC controller. I do want to mention that you must set your tools according to what it is when editing your tools in Fusion. What I mean by that is when you set your tools, you also have to measure it in the cutting data. It's when you click the drop down menu for edit tools. You click it and then you can add in the length of the tool, from the Cat 40 holder or whichever holder you're using. If you don't do this, if you just select Fusion, the 1/4 inch tool, for example, 1/4 inch cutter, it's gonna think that whatever tool you selected is going off the default settings, not the settings that you have to input manually when you use your dial calipers to measure it or a ruler. That's just something I want to mention. That is a critical step when loading your tools. Do not just select just the tools from the tool library. It's not going to work that way. Now go ahead and run your machine. Now, as you can see, my clamps are here. You have to monitor it closely. If I were to come close, what I would do was I'd stop the machine and move the clamps. So this is very important when you're running machines, to pay attention and not do anything else. Here are the steps again. This is step 1, prepare the CNC program by designing the part, generating the toolpath with CAM, and post-processing to your machine. Step 2 is to power on the machine, secure the workpiece, which is your work holding, and selecting and loading the tools. Step 3 is to set tool length offset on top of your part and get G54, which is your work offset. Step 4 is to load the CNC program, transferring it from your computer to your flash drive, and then checking the program afterwards to see if there's any errors or warnings. Step 5 is to run a dry run by selecting Settings Graph or Graphics to see if you have any errors and to check your toolpath if it is correct on your simulation. Step 6 is to start machining. Go ahead and run the program with a safe start protocol with 50% feed, 25% rapids, and make sure you keep a close eye on it. And I also would like to thank my buddy Chief Johnson for always assisting and helping me with questions I may have down the road or just in general. This is where I learned my machining from. I did learning in school, but a lot goes to him. So thanks, brother. All right, y'all. Catch y'all next time.